Frustration is mounting for Johannesburg residents who will find themselves without water for the long weekend. Now, normal water supply only expected next week in the south of Joburg. Experts say as much as 60% of the water that is pumped into Johannesburg water is lost through poor and a failing infrastructure. Let's cross now to Hloni Mtimkulu, who finds herself at the Joburg water depot. Now, this seems to be a story that's moving very fast, Hloni. In the last hour, we spoke to our colleagues Lindile Masekane in South Hills, where people have been basically without water for more than a month already. Just as a water truck pulled in, there's been statements from the Department of Water Sanitation saying a high-level ministerial meeting was held last night, and then another statement has just come out by Rand Water saying that water is being restored, it seems, as fast as possible. What is the state of play where you stand?
Yeah, Marcel, so we are back at the Johannesburg water depot in Midrand. We did a bit of driving around at other places that we had been told in the previous days had been spots where there were tankers and JoJo tanks as well. And those places at the moment, as we were driving around, did not have the tanks. We then were told by a number of residents that, you know, their water has been restored. And that's what we're kind of getting, that some of the water in the area is being restored. Just in terms of how long people have not had water, you know, even before these power lines were affected earlier in the week, we were told that some people, even as early as last weekend, still didn't have water, and even water, yes, and then Monday and Tuesday as well before the storm happened. So it's been an issue that has happened even before then. But as I said, some water is being restored. There haven't been a lot of people here. There've been like a trickle of people that are coming in to get water, and most of them say they're coming from the Halfway Gardens area, and this is where they know that they should be getting, or they are able to get water supply. I'm not sure, again, I'm going to try and hijack you, so if we can, just in terms of how long have you not had water, how frustrating is it, what do you understand about what's going on, and who's to blame, I guess, for all of this?
Well, we haven't been having water like since on Wednesday, but other residents actually have had this issue since the other week. And it's quite frustrating, I must say, because we've got kids, as you can see, my son here, and it's two of them, so it's quite difficult. It's very difficult. He's taking us back to the village.
Right, I've heard that from someone else before, that it's basically like you're going back to the village in terms of how now you're having to access water here. Just in terms of understanding what is going on, do residents understand what is going on?
Well, for myself, I have no idea what's going on, because like I checked on Twitter, and the updates are not so specific. They're naming reservoirs by numbers, and we don't know which reservoir supplies which area. So, like for instance, in my area, there's no water, but the neighboring areas do have water. So that's quite confusing, and it doesn't make sense. So for me, I don't know where we are.
And as you say, some areas do have water, and we have heard that some water supply is being restored. Just for you, how much longer can you go, and how much longer can you keep doing this? And how much are you spending just kind of having to do all of this, never mind the time, but also just the cost of it?
Okay, just now, as you can see, these buckets are brand new. So I spent like 280 now for the buckets. And in buying the water, well, at least I'm not buying so far. I'm having the means to bring the buckets at home, but it's quite difficult. So in terms of expenditure, the only thing that I spend is 290. On these buckets that I just got.
Right, thank you so much. Hopefully this will be the end of it, because we have heard, Marcel, that Joburg Water saying that water has been restored in all of these areas in that statement, but not all areas around Midrand have their water restored. We also have the ward councillor, one of the ward councillors for this area, Lerato Mpefu. So we can just maybe briefly, can you summarize kind of which areas, if you're able to tell us, have electricity, water, and what's the sort of situation generally at the moment?
I can't be specific with that. I mean, I have been receiving, I woke up to messages where residents were saying, thank you, we do have water. And I think I had one or two who said, when I went to bed at night, there was water, but now there isn't any water. And it's a pity the gentleman here is not from my ward, but I'm not pointing fingers or whatever. Not everyone is on our service delivery groups, and not everyone, you know, is privy to the information that we share. But those who are on the service delivery groups, as councillors, we've been trying to share information as much as we can, and also explain, you know, the things that he said he does not understand, like your errant tower or errand reservoir 1 or 2. I think it was on Thursday that I actually sent the information that was breaking it down for residents per suburb to say tower covers this area and all that. So when Joburg Water sends out the information, you're in a position where you can actually see whether you are affected or not. And I've also sent out messages explaining to them why others would have water and others wouldn't, when we're all staying in the same area, because other residents were frustrated. Why is it that I don't have water, but 2 blocks away someone has water? And it starts first with whether you are served from a reservoir, or from the water tower. And if the water tower has water, you will have. And if the reservoir is critically low, that one that's connected to it does not have. And also it goes with, it's a gravity thing, how the water travels as well. Those that are at a lowest point will lose the water the last, and those that are at a high point, unfortunately, they lose it first, but they gain it, later, which does not seem fair. And residents are like, no, but I've been without water for a long time. This one just lost it, but they got it first. It's not something that's manually directed. The one that's at a lower point will always have, more than the one that's on top.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And that we will leave it there. So, Marcel, that is just one of the ward councillors for this area, for the Midrand area, just explaining the kind of frustration that residents are facing, because we have heard, of course, from the gentleman we spoke to before, that you just hear the names of these reservoirs and you don't know which area they supply. You don't know which area, which reservoir supplies your area as well, and where you should go and where the tankers are and that sort of thing. So it is frustrating, never mind the expense as well. So there's some sort of coordination that is happening in terms of residents knowing where to go. But at the moment, there are still people without water supply in this Midrand area, Marcel.
Okay, the latest there from the Joburg Water Depot, Hloni Mtimkulu, bringing us up to speed there. And as I said earlier, we had just spent quite a bit of time getting a sense of the situation being faced by ordinary citizens in South Hills through our colleagues Lindile Masekane. So a very complex picture being painted in terms of this water crisis at the moment. Hloni, thank you so much for that update.